Well, good evening, everyone, or afternoon or morning, depending where you are joining us from. Welcome back here to the launch pad. You're joining us for our live launch coverage of tonight's Soyuz launch up to the International Space Station as a resupply mission, but also a test to see if Soyuz can actually get to the ISS sooner. And we'll dive a little bit more into that in just a couple of minutes. But if you are new here, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the host here at the launch pad. Here at the launch pad, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow. We believe explorers can be here on the ground looking up into space or up in space, and we believe that space is better together. So we invite you to join our crew by engaging that subscribe button so you never miss another TLP live stream for launch coverage, exclusive interviews, starbase coverage, and more. Take a moment, join our Discord. It's totally free. Some people will be probably hanging out in live comms as they normally do during a launch stream here. And you, of course, can join the conversation in the YouTube chat. If you're over on Facebook or Twitch, welcome as well. Come on over, join us on YouTube, youtube.com/thelaunchpad, and subscribe so you never miss any of our space news updates, which are exclusively on YouTube. But as always, when we get started, we want to know where are you joining us from. We know we got viewers all over the world, and we'd love to welcome you here tonight. We love answering your questions as well, so you can send those in the chat. Just tag us at the Launchpad. That'll make sure that our team makes sure that I see those questions, and we'll try to answer those, of course, as quickly as we can without interrupting some of the live launch events. But if you want to jump the queue and be the next question to ask, you can always send it in as a super chat as well. But as we get started here, break down a little bit of tonight's mission. It is another Soyuz 2.1A launching from Launch Complex 31-6 out of Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, carrying 2,550 kilograms of cargo up to the International Space Station, where it will rendezvous in an inclination of 51.65 degrees at a 400-kilometer orbit. Of course, the Soyuz rocket itself is not recoverable, nor are the boosters. They'll crash into the steppes of Kazakhstan. So, of course, it is all new fairings and everything there. Some of the history: this is the 6th uncrewed mission to the ISS so far this year. It is the 18th launch of a Progress MS spacecraft, so a variant there. The 56th mission of a Soyuz 2.1A rocket. The 79th cargo mission ever to the International Space Station. 170th flight of a Progress spacecraft, and we're already at the 105th orbital launch of 2021. Plus, we've had a number of suborbital launches as well this year. So, been a busy year. We'll get into more of the details of what this is carrying here and that special test in just a minute. We are seeing people joining in from all over. We got Gabriella in Adelaide, South Australia. Great to see you. We got Puz in Albuquerque, New Mexico. John in Tampa, Florida. Howard's in Maryland, USA. Dirtfoot in Safety Harbor, Florida. Great to see you all. Ruben, stream is looking great. Thanks so much, Ruben. Appreciate that. Into the Cosmos, we streaming on Twitch now. We've actually always streamed on Twitch. We have streamed on Twitch almost since day one. Just most people didn't know about it. But YouTube's obviously where we do most of our updates. That's where we do our space news updates, our exclusive interviews, and everything. But for launches, we try to go on all the platforms. That way it's easier for you guys to be able to never miss a launch of any of the different agencies. For it, Diamond's asking, is there people in there? Not today. This is an uncrewed mission up to the International Space Station, carrying cargo for the next kind of 6 months. For the crew. Obviously, cargo goes up with any Soyuz crewed launch, and a lot of cargo goes up with any Crew Dragon, as well as there are the CRS missions with NASA, which are the Cargo Dragon missions that go up every few months as well. But the Russians still send up a few cargo missions a year, and this is one of those here today. On board today, MS-18 is going to be carrying propellant and pressurized gases weighing 640 kilograms, as well as a whole lot of food, 400 liters of water for the Rodnik system on board the ISS, as well as some other cargo and equipment up to 1,500 kilograms. So we don't get a full breakdown of everything on board like we do with the United States. Overall, the mission's carrying 2,550 kilograms of cargo to support the Expedition 66 mission on board the International Space Station. Now, you might have heard it or seen it in the title that this is a test mission for it. On this mission, Roscosmos will be testing some new elements to see if a faster rendezvous technique with the ISS is possible. They want to see, can they launch a Soyuz and get to the International Space Station in just one orbit or in less than 2 hours. Apparently, we've heard that first tests were taking place during MS-17, but those weren't actually publicized. That mission launched on June 30th. The spacecraft today is going to do a little bit different of a rendezvous. It's going to enter into an elliptical orbit required for this one orbit scheme, stay there for 50 minutes, then the Progress MS-18 spacecraft will proceed to follow its normal maneuvers and burns to go into another elliptic orbit to approach the ISS, and is expected to dock, I believe, on Saturday, October 30th, 2 days from now. So they're going to do a test, get into this newer orbit to see if they got there, if they just did one more burn, could they catch the ISS? They're not actually going to do that. But if they do see the success of getting into this new co-elliptic and all the data looks right, we're hearing reports that MS-20, so not the next one, but 2 missions from now, they will attempt a one orbit or less than 2 hour docking with the International Space Station. Russia's already got it down to about 3.5 hours, but they want to try to cut that in half. So quite interesting to see them pushing this old rocket, their original rocket, to new limits, to make it faster and more responsive. I think that's a interesting sign with all the kind of alarms we've had over the last few months on board that they're wanting to see, can they have a Soyuz maybe on standby as an emergency vehicle should they need it. So it'll be interesting to see. That's one thing we were pointed out a while back in our Discord chats. There is no rocket ever on standby to go to the ISS. Now, obviously, they have all their capsules up there to evacuate. But, like, if we needed to get something up there right away, that no one's got a rocket just sitting waiting, which is an interesting kind of way to be. But if you're just joining us, welcome here to your launch pad. You're joining us for our live launch coverage of tonight's MS-18 mission up to the International Space Station, cargo resupply mission. No crew on board. But we're glad that you are here, as always, letting us know where you're coming from in the chat. We got Zach in Indianapolis. We've got Adam is in Lancaster, California. We got Aaron in Rochester Hills. Andrew in Canberra, Australia. Mr. D is in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We got Kino in Santiago, Chile. We got Adrian in Plymouth, England. Kevin, Chicago, Illinois. Emilio in New Jersey. The Real in San Antonio. People all over the world. We're so glad to have you here with us for this launch. Of course, we're going to be answering your guys' questions. You can just tag us at the launch pad and send those in. Right now, we're sitting at T-minus 53 minutes until launch. This will be a pretty quick stream as we see the launch. It takes about 8 minutes to have deployment of the Progress craft, and that pretty much wraps it up for today until we have docking in 2 days from now. We'll be keeping an eye on that. Into the Cosmos, the link to the Twitch. I just go to Twitch and type in the launch pad. I think it should come up there. I believe we're under just chatting. Hello from somewhere in the middle or the Midwest of the U.S. Welcome to Seal. Great to have you. Dennis, how do they order Domino's on the ISS? Sadly, they don't. Sometimes they'll send up fresh pizza on a rapid, like a Crew Dragon. Sometimes, if it's a fast enough rendezvous, we've seen it go up, or with the Soyuz, they'll send up a fresh pizza, but it's pretty rare there. WTX, why do the Russians get to the ISS faster than the US? It's something they've been working on. They've been trying to do it. The US could do it, but it's something that's a little different. Also, it breaks down to kind of their human rights and work hours and all of that. The US has so many hours astronauts can technically be awake before they have to have a sleep period. And for the U.S. system through a launch, there's quite a bit of, they'll wake, then they have their meal, then they have their briefings, then they have their suit up, roll out to the pad, then they sit on top of a Falcon for an hour or two, then they launch. Great, now they're in orbit. They need to pack their suits away, get into their cabin suits type stuff, like their regular stuff. Have a meal, most likely, because it's been a while since they eat, do some paperwork, finalize that the capsule's all safe and everything in orbit, maybe do a burn or two. And then at that point, normally it's time for a sleep period. The U.S. astronauts are on a very strict schedule of 8-hour sleep periods that are scheduled. So they have to be aware of those. Obviously, if they were in an 8-hour sleep period, it would be a lot harder to then launch out and dock, because that would dock during that orbit most likely. So that's normally why, from the outside perspective. I'm sure there's other reasons there as well, but that is one of those reasons. Aiden Crew 3's at the pad. Did it roll out this afternoon? I know they were getting ready to do it. That is awesome to hear. Endeavor, the new Crew Dragon spacecraft, first ever launch coming up on October 31st. We, of course, will be going live at about 9:30, 10 p.m. Eastern on October 30th to bring you that full launch coverage of SpaceX's third crew to the International Space Station and fifth actual crewed, fourth actual fifth actual crewed mission of a Crew Dragon. So nice to see they're introducing another Crew Dragon. They've got one more that they're developing. They say they want to have a fleet of 4 always underway. So that's great to hear. Mark is in St. Andrews, Scotland. We got Philip in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Aiden, Manchester. Robin's in Newfoundland. Hello. Ken in Eugene, Oregon. Been there many times. Born in Norway. Aiden's from Spain. Yeah, Aiden is from Spain. Paul's in Japan. Hello. Virginia in Lakewood, Wisconsin. Good to see you, Virginia. Catching up on the chat here. The Seal in Black, will you stream James Webb? Absolutely, we will stream James Webb. We're not going to miss that. That's a very exciting and historic launch that we will, of course, be live for. We're just waiting for some finalized details of the launch window, and then we will schedule our live stream for that. We try not to schedule our streams until we actually have a T0. That way you guys see it, because I know some of you, like me, book off work to watch launches. So we try not to schedule anything until too close. Coming past that T-minus 50-minute mark, you can see that there still are a few people on the pad, but it is starting to clear, which is a good sign. We should see these kind of claw open up around Soyuz here in the next little bit, preparing it for launch here tonight. Of course, this is a Roscosmos launch, so their coverage is in Russian, so that's one reason why we don't normally patch in their audio, but we will patch it in during the actual ignition sequence, so you guys can hear that final count, and hopefully some audio from the pad itself. So we'll be monitoring that, of course. Hello from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. Hey, Jeffrey, how's it going? Good to see another Canadian in here. Dan, hello from North Carolina. I see a number of people walking around. Is that normal with a launch in under an hour? The rocket loaded with fuel yet? Yeah, so that's something we see with the Soyuz, quite common. It's always quite active at the pad. People are there quite late into launch for it. At T-minus 30 minutes is when we see the launch command power activations, as well as the launch abort system activations. T-minus 25 minutes, we see the removal of the service towers. So those are the towers that are up there next to it. So it's quite interesting to see. We're just pulling up the full launch timeline here of what we can expect. But yeah, it's quite common to see people out at the pad quite late. It's a little nerve-wracking for most of us, because we're used to, Kennedy and NASA being so clear so early, especially before fueling there. But yes, Soyuz is fueled. That's why you can see that venting of the craft. It is a fueled rocket at this point. But they do go through some more, like, topping it up and everything through this. So they believe it's safe. They've done this. This is their 2000th plus launch at this point, so they know what they're doing. Double checking how many Soyuz we actually are at officially now. I know we were coming up on that 2000 mark not too long ago. There's been quite a few. But if you're just joining us, welcome. You're watching our live launch coverage of tonight's Soyuz 2.1A rocket launch, carrying the Progress spacecraft up to the International Space Station for a resupply mission. We're hanging out, answering your questions, coming down to that T-minus 46.5-minute mark. in the count. From what we've been hearing, everything is progressing well. We do have a second feed up here as well that's showing us into the mission control room. So we are keeping an eye on that to see if any sort of updates or anything come from there. But as of now, everything is showing clear, which is good. They're showing very similar views of the pad, but also that live view into mission control. But they show a number of different videos as well during that. So we're keeping a view on the rocket because that's what we want to see on is the launch pad. Sir Rokill watching on a PS4, commenting on a phone. Thanks, Sir Rokill. Appreciate it. Adam, wonder why we clear the pad so much longer. Safety. We in the U.S. world of rocket launches, I would say, and I think just general rule of thumb in the workplace, have a little bit higher work safety standards, just a little bit. And I think that's part of it. I also think that they've had so many launches. I mean, 2,000 of a Soyuz craft. They know the craft, so they feel a little bit better. But there you can see one of the cameras at the base of the rocket right now. We do not have control of this, so we'll see what they're showing us. But you can see them clearing out some chairs, it looks like, that were next to the rocket. This is always interesting to see kind of what's actually going on raw on the ground. Matthew, hello from South Florida. What type of fuel is this rocket running on? Mustard only on... Huh? Mustard? For the question there, what is running on? The boosters run on RP1 and LOX, so do the first stage and the second stage. Boosters, 4 of them, of course, on there, form that cross when they separate, burn for 118 seconds, have a thrust of 994 kilonewtons. The first stage burns for 292 seconds with 977 kilonewtons of thrust, and then the second stage burning for 246 seconds with only 294 kilonewtons of thrust, but they're in orbit, so it's a lot easier there. Russian pan ninjas. So we got the Russian ninjas, and then we got the SpaceX ninjas. Seems like everybody has to have ninjas. Could you imagine standing there? He panned over, and I wish he'd stay panned over. But that rocket is sitting there venting, very much alive. I'm not sure I'd feel comfortable standing this close to it at this exact moment here. But we'll see. We'll switch over here to the other feed here really quick. Them showing how the progress rolls out. Soyuz rolls out on a train out to the launch site. And that occurred a couple of days ago for them to prepare for tonight's launch. So they walk it out to the pad, and then they tip it up, and then that's when those support clamps and support towers actually rotate around it. But that's where you can see that rolling in. Always a big moment when another Soyuz reaches the pit, because that's really much what it is. It's a big fire pit that it launches from. As we can see the clock passing through that T-minus 43-minute mark, getting some wider shots of the launch site here as they continue to clear the pad and go from there. Preston, you know my numbers, and I just got really good cheat sheets. I know some of them, but there's a lot of data. There's no way you can memorize all this. I'll be honest, I got cheat sheets, but you know what? It makes it easier. It makes it easier to answer those questions. Some of them I can quote, though, but I'll let you figure out which ones those are and which ones those aren't. Coming through that T-minus 42-minute mark towards tonight's ISS resupply mission launch. Another view right there from where that guy was standing. I mean, look how close these people are. They're literally at the barrier of the pit as this prepares. The camera crew. Oh, it looks like he's going to do an interview or a news story. I'm not too sure. I bet this is getting ready to go onto the normal live feed that we see. Right now we're watching kind of the raw media feed, which gives us just the camera shots of the pad. So looks like we're going to kind of eavesdrop in on an interview. Preston, I've also figured out what those things are on the engines, the red things. It's a protective covering. Okay, the things on the insides? Yeah, just like a protective on the inside, and then they normally put a flat piece. Yeah, absolutely. Tanular, we go. Well, they're progressing towards a launch here, attempt here, so we haven't heard anything different. They haven't scrubbed it at all, so we'll see what there. Kevin, cheat sheets are great for the exact answers, no shame. I appreciate it, Kevin. Rather give you specifics than not specifics. You're just joining us, though. Welcome here to the launch pad. You're watching our live launch coverage of tonight's Soyuz Progress MS-18 mission up to the International Space Station. We are at T-minus 41 minutes and counting until liftoff. If you saw in the title that it said resupply mission and test, the reason we said test, they are going to be going into a slightly different orbit briefly. To attempt to see if in a future mission Soyuz can actually rendezvous with the ISS in just one orbit or under 2 hours. So that is something that they're going to do, go into a different orbit, hang out there for a little bit, and then transition to a secondary orbit, and then proceed with their normal 2-day rendezvous. Cage, welcome as a VIP spectator. Thanks so much for supporting the channel in that way and becoming a member. Really appreciate that. If you are on the Discord, if you can message any of our mods that are in there or our admins and just screenshot that you joined, we'll make sure that we can upgrade. If your name's not your name, if your name in Discord's your name, just say, hey, I upgraded. But if your name's not your name, just send us a screenshot and we can upgrade your Discord there and make sure you get the access to that behind the scenes. If you guys are new, though, and haven't yet, take a moment. You can join our Discord. It's free to do so. But if you like Cage and you help support TLP in becoming a member, you can also get access to some of our behind-the-scenes, early access, and different things, depending on the tiers. But we try to promise always to have at least 50% of our Discord open to the public for free to support, just growing this great community here. Golden Russians getting close to rocket 30 minutes before launch. Sounds like Russia. They're close there. 30 minutes is when we see them activate some of the emergency escape stuff. 25 minutes is when we see that big support towers normally retract. Now, they could retract them earlier if they're ready, but so we're keeping an eye on that. Daniel, you give it a 4. Okay, Daniel. Thanks. Awesome, Cage. Appreciate it. Golden, let's go. Soyuz, yep. Kevin, is this just normal in Russia to be this close to a rocket? Like, I know some workers normally should be there, but this dude with a mic seems abnormal. I could be overthinking it. This is normal for Russia. The media is allowed to be this close. They're allowed to be down there. I think we've seen them down there as close as like 25 minutes or so. Normally when it starts to retract and kind of sit out there, that's when they get the people away. But it is normal to see them this close. Giving you an idea of what this guy's doing, he's currently talking to their normal live stream, which is their moderated one. So you can see them patching him in, but there's of course a time delay. So we're seeing a much more raw feed from him out at the pad, getting ready for the launch here tonight. Some fresh locks is part of the healthy Russian diet. Hey, you know what? If that's what it takes to have 2,000 successful launches, maybe we should be hanging out closer to the rocket until sooner too. If you're just joining us, though, continue sending in your questions. We're answering those live as we count down to tonight's launch. Make sure to tag us at the launch pad, and we'll make sure to be answering those live in the chat. Alicia said, I don't understand this. Can't this expendable press person get any closer? I want to hear the chemistry. I mean, it's, just a little closer would be nice. Just, like 10 feet. That'd be appreciated. So you can see there, those support towers have now retracted. This is normally one of those signs. So they did this about a little bit early here in the count. It means things are progressing well for tonight's launch attempt here. but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. This is normally when we'll really start to see them clearing the pad. In the bottom right corner of the countdown, you can see there's some buses and stuff there. Those are waiting for those people so they can actually clear the region. But they don't clear a big region around these launches. They have that big flame pit there, and they trust their rocket. So it's interesting. He looked scared. He looked a little nervous. A little bit, maybe. Maybe it was his first launch. Russian QC, the head of the program, has to walk around the rocket before the launch. Ooh, I'm going to say your name wrong, and I apologize. Yehuda? Yehida? Just subscribe for your channel. I'm a big fan of space and a big fan of the stream. Can't wait for an awesome stream and launch. Thanks so much. I'm going to type it in the chat how I should say it, and I'll try to remember that. But thanks so much for subscribing. Glad you're here. Daniel, what would happen if the rocket went boom when the people on the pad? A national tragedy. Lucius, I guess it's their policy. Don't fire the rocket unless you see the white. Oh my, yeah. Yeah, they make sure they clear the pad. You can see it starting to clear out those last people standing at the base. I mean, I'd admit, that'd be a really cool profile picture. Like, could you imagine standing this close, just in front? Like, this and, that'd be a great profile picture. Adam, wish we could have news crews this close, specifically with starships. For launches, no. For testing, maybe. Like, pre-testing. But one day we'll see what happens when the starship gets close to launches. Cosmodrome, aka a giant hole in the ground. Yep. Maybe not with starships, as Preston, as a death trap. It seems pretty safe to me. I mean, not when it launches. I don't want to be that close, but we'll see what's there. Hello B, thanks so much. Yeah, rocket start at 0:00:32. Yep, that is the targeted launch time here, right at the top of a new day. Hello from Novosibirsk. I hope I said that wrong. Great to have you. Yehida? Yehida? I hope that's the right one. Awesome. Looks like the cameraman is gone. Got some drones in the air now, giving us some great views. There's that side view. You can still see some people at the base of the rocket at T-minus 34 minutes and counting. The Seal Black, I forgot about Starship. How do you forget about Starship? But yeah, they say they're ready to launch next month. So we'll have to wait and see. Sometime between next month and March, we will have the first ever orbital flight test of Starship, which is pretty exciting. Dale, does the FAA need to approve this launch? This one, no. This is a entirely Roscosmos launch, run by the Russian aerospace. There's no U.S. company on board, so no, they do not need an FAA launch license. If SpaceX was launching this from Roscosmos, from the Kazakhstan Baikonur Cosmodrome, which isn't possible, but if they were launching from there, then yes. But no, this is an entirely Russia launch. Kevin's hoping that Starship launches in December. Yeah, that'd be nice. Nice little Christmas gift, New Year's. I mean, could you imagine launching on New Year's? What a great way to ring in a third year of going through this craziness of the pandemic. Russia has their own authority like the FAA, absolutely. That's a beautiful shot. I would prefer being close to that one that launched to the Saturn, meaning only the gantry backing off of it while it unfueled. Yeah. Hey, Benevolent Intelligence. Good, thanks so much. How have you been? Great to see you. "33 minutes, it looks like they're finally sauntering off." Yeah, they're starting to clear the pad now. Normally by the 25 minute mark, we see it cleared. At the 30-minute mark, normally they start really turning the rocket on, and that's why they really start to clear the pad, because it becomes an active scene But if you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. You're watching our live launch coverage of tonight's Soyuz Progress launch to the International Space Station, carrying a resupply mission up to the ISS, 2,500 kilograms of cargo, over 400 liters of water for the ISS, along with a lot of food and other supplies required for the Expedition 66 mission, which is now officially underway. When we saw that last Soyuz crew leave, the film crew with the one cosmonaut, that marked the end of Expedition 65 and the beginning of Expedition 66. Just to remove risk, Elon should have an alternative launch site in Kazakhstan. Seems to be very slim safety book. Still would fall under the FAA. Still would need it. All the people so close as propellant is being loaded. Yep. Yeah, they're a little risky. Raphael, hello from Brazil. Great to have you. Alicious, yeah, leaving the launch pad is pretty much an option up until T-10. I agree. T-10 gets you, you got some time there. This is a safe rocket. That's the thing. Soyuzes are safe. Now, I would not be this close to a Starship at this point in fueling. We'd have to see. 30 minutes to start up and left people launch pad when rod lowered. Says on Russian order, left people place of launch. So at the 30-minute mark, that's when they clear. Yeah, it's definitely cleared out there. Yahida, what is your favorite rocket and favorite crew capsule? I really like Crew Dragon. It looks spacious and comfortable, and I'd want to fly on it. So I'd say Crew Dragon. Favorite rocket? If Starship works, Starship, Falcon Heavy. There's just something really beautiful about a Falcon Heavy. I haven't seen one launch in person, but I've seen a Falcon 9, and I can't imagine a Falcon Heavy. So any of the Falcon series, which, yeah, SpaceX bias, but they're pretty cool rockets. There's a lot of other really neat rockets in development that we hope work, but you're talking something that actually will launch right now, I would say Falcon. There you can see those last people leaving the launch site. All the support arms have been retracted from the side of the Soyuz in preparation for launch here in 29 minutes. Malicious, nothing stopping U.S. companies from opening an LLT or LLC in another company. Technically, no, they could open them. The thing is, with all the contracts and how these contracts work, these are government contracts, military contracts. Yeah, that they wouldn't be allowed to launch them. I'm sure there's stuff built into their stuff that they can't, because you wouldn't want SpaceX winning a contract and then them going buying a Soyuz to launch it, which would be different but similar to the idea of having an LTD, hiring another company. So yeah, they could do it, but it wouldn't change anything. They would still not be able to launch their contracts. Cage, I've not watched any Roscosmos launches before. Do they have any habitual holds at any particular time? We don't normally see any holds in the count with one. I'm glad you're here. Excited to have you for kind of your first Soyuz launch. They're quite interesting to watch. Generally speaking, they're a pretty smooth count. Give you an idea of what to expect during the actual launch sequence at T-minus 15 seconds. When we actually see that engine start sequence, that's when it powers up there. Takes a few seconds to warm up. At 0, of course, liftoff. First stage will separate at T plus 1 minute 58 seconds. We also have the booster separation that occurs as well, forming that cross. 3 minutes, we have the fairing jettison. 4 minutes 47 seconds, second stage separation. 4:57, we have the tail section separation. 8:45, we have the third stage main engine cutoff, followed a few seconds later by the Progress MS separation and deployment. So they're pretty smooth. They can have holds. We've seen them before, but they're not common for a Soyuz mission. They're pretty smooth counts overall. If they get into a final count, like at this point, they normally go. We have seen a couple holds during some OneWeb launches in the past, but it's not too often. John, questions, will you ever host one of these and take live calls from us? Do you mean like you want to call in and ask a question? Believe it or not, we've actually been looking into that to see how we can do that. So that is something. Let me know in the chat. Is that something you guys would want to do? Would you want to have like a 1-800 number that you could call in and ask a question live on air? Say yes or no in the chat. We'd love to hear from you guys. It'd be something we could look into. We have been looking at some options for that for some of the bigger events or for some static fire testing. When we're sitting there for 6 hours, we thought, it'd be fun to patch some of you guys in. So there's a couple ways we could do it. We could do it via phoning in, or we could do it through the Discord. So we've been doing some testing with our team to see it. But in the chat, say yes or no if you'd want to ask questions on audio, because we could have a few different ways of doing that. Kevin, I would love to see Zach on the Dragon. One day, Kevin. One day. It's going to happen. Falcon Heavy. Super Heavy. Nobody should be this close to a fully fueled Starship stack. I agree. No. There's still people there at T-minus 25 minutes sitting at the bottom. Like, this is really close. Like, okay, go away. Those two booster landings simultaneously are insanely gorgeous. I agree, Ryan. They're absolutely incredible. They're starting to evacuate from the launch site. They are. It's definitely quieter, but the last crews are still there. Terpestra Mark, first Soyuz launch I watched was when the Dutch astronaut went to the space station for the first time. Always fun to watch stage separation. Absolutely. Stages are really nice. Kevin, are there cameras on this rocket? There are sometimes. So normally we can see the actual parallel cross, the separation of the side boosters. We don't normally see much after that, and then we sometimes see once they're in orbit, we'll see sometimes the solar deployment. So it's hit and miss depending on the launch, but we'll keep seeing it there. I agree, Alicious. There are many companies that have agreed. Totally agree with you there. Absolutely, have seen that with other tech companies and stuff. Little different of a sector, and that's why. But there, I mean, it's still same thing. Is it possible? Absolutely. There would just be a lot of progress to make it happen. Golden, did you hear the news about Russia? They might send Russians on Crew Dragon. Golden, spoilers of the news update coming out tonight. Yes, we will have a space news update coming out for you guys later this evening. We just have to film that. We've been doing a little bit more research on it. But Roscosmos has officially conducted their safety review of Crew Dragon and are considering purchasing seats. So a flip of the coin. For the last 10 years, 11 years, the United States bought seats at $95 million a seat to get Americans up to the ISS, and now Russia is considering sending Roscosmos astronauts on the Crew Dragon. So quite an interesting development. I don't think any of us expected to see that occur with kind of current relations and just Crew Dragon, but it looks like they are actually considering it. David, I wouldn't use a 1-800 number. Make it free and use Discord. Good call. Yes. Yes, please. Lots of people. Yes, why not? Awesome. Good to see. Matt, nah, that's fair. Richie, you don't know how to use Discord. You feel old. That's okay, Richie. Lots of people don't. I didn't until like January, February when we set it up. What we're going to do, we're going to film a video this week now that we've done some changing around on the Discord and put out a video for you guys. It's a little tour of the Discord so you know where and when to go and how things work. So for those that are new to Discord, we have that. But if you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. You're watching our live launch coverage of tonight's Soyuz Progress launch with Roscosmos, heading up to the International Space Station with a resupply mission of 2,500 kilograms of cargo, and we're glad to have you here with us for tonight's launch. If you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat, tag us at the launch pad, and we will be answering those for you live. I'm a Russian radio station. Awesome. That's cool. David, which Soyuz rocket? This is a 2.1A rocket. This is a 2.1A Soyuz. Golden Soyuz of SpaceX. Who has better camera feed? SpaceX. SpaceX beats everyone hands down. There's no question. You guess your joke of the last clearing out at 10 minutes was accurate? A little bit long, but they're finally clearing those last people there. Timothy, thank you for doing this. Do you know when the Russian date they hope to launch the... Ooh, I had seen that a while ago. Let me see if I can find that for you, Timothy. I mean, it was originally scheduled to launch in 2019. Currently, they're targeting November 24th, 2021, with operations beginning in 2022. So keep an eye out for that. It'll be launching on a 2.1B rocket. As we hear more about a launch date window, we will schedule a live stream for that, Timothy. So keep an eye out for that. That's a great question. Thank you for sending that in. Yoshida, do you ever plan on doing collaborations with any other space YouTubers? Absolutely. We've done a few already with Space News Pod. I was on his show a couple of times, I think, now. And we've definitely become friends of our channels there. Met up with him down at Starbase and are doing some collaborations in the future with our new live show that we'll be launching in November. So you will see that. As well as we partner with Jessica Kirsch to get some live feeds of Starbase for testing as well. So definitely open to it and developing some community and some relationships there to just continue developing this excitement towards becoming a multiplanetary species. But yeah, absolutely. When the time's right and the opportunity's right, Yahida, absolutely we do that. Malicious Discord is the link that you click and it can run with browser. It just ends up being like an interactive web. Yep. All the controls are pretty overwhelming. There's a lot. We've got quite a few rooms in it. But once you see this video, we think it'll be a little bit easier for you guys. Catching up on some of the questions in the chat here. Keep sending those in. Tag us at the Launchpad. Be glad to answer those for you here. John, Zach, do you know when the SpaceX next crew goes to the ISS? John, it is launching in 2.5 days. Not even 2 days. In 2 days and 3 hours, we will be live, bringing you that full coverage there. So I'll grab you a link, John, or if you head over just to our channel, you'll be able to see that there and be able to get that full launch coverage. We do have our Crew 3 launch and our docking streams pre-scheduled, but I'll drop in the link here. The link in the chat right now is for our live launch coverage of Crew 3, launching on October 31st at 2 a.m. Eastern. Coming down past that T-minus 18-minute mark for launch of tonight's Soyuz Progress mission up to the International Space Station. Malicious, I'm impressed how quickly the last crew landed. They're getting really quick at launching and landing, so it's great to see there. Michael Biggs, that's awesome. I can take a look at that. If you have Discord or Twitter, you can send us a link as well. That'd be awesome. Hello from Montreal. Great to see you. The tower is gone. Yep, the support towers and the access towers have retracted. There's a really great sign there. Awesome, Timothy. We will see you then. Virginia, what do you think of Blue Origin is willing to build a factory station in space? Great question there, Virginia. I think it's quite interesting. I think the fact that they've partnered with so many other agencies, Blue Origin, Boeing, Sierra Space, and Redwire, I believe it is. It's quite a team. I believe in Sierra Space a lot, so I think there's a chance that it could actually happen. Biggest question is Sierra Space has their Dream Chaser, which we'll be seeing come into fruition here in the next year or so with cargo missions to the ISS. Super excited for that. Mini space shuttle return. But the Boeing Starliner, I'm not too sure how that's going to work. But I think there'll be some changes to what we see the orbital reef is what they're calling it become. But I think it'll be interesting to see. We now have 5 space stations that have been announced for low Earth orbit. The Russian one, we've got the orbital reef, we've got the Star Lab, we have the China one under development. We also have the there's a big circular one under development, Orbital Foundation, I think it was, and then a few others that have said they're working on it, but are probably further down the road. We are keeping an eye on that. Carrie, hi Zach, thanks for a good stream. What is the payload today? Absolutely. It is not people or a satellite, Carrie. It is actually just cargo. So on board today's mission, they're carrying 640 kilograms of propellant and pressurized gases to the ISS, as well as a whole lot of food, 400 liters of water, as well as some other cargo and equipment, in all weighing 2,550 kilograms to support the entire Expedition 66 mission on board the ISS. If you are new, take a moment, engage that like and subscribe button. It really does help us out here as we count down towards liftoff in less than 15 minutes from now. Can't believe it, over 600 people watching. Great to have you all here. Let's see, can we get to that 500 like mark before liftoff? I think we can do it. Let's see you in the chat. And continuing answering your guys' questions. Quick pause there. Appreciate it. You're just joining us, though. Welcome. You're watching our live launch coverage of tonight's Soyuz Progress mission. Coming down to T-minus 13 minutes until liftoff. Spaceflight X, when will Crew 2 undock from the ISS and come home? We don't have an exact window for their return yet. Normally it's less than a week, so we are keeping a close eye on that, and when we see that, we will schedule a live stream and tweet about that announcement. So keep an eye out for that, but early November. Kevin, you're smashing the like button. Just make sure you smash it an odd number of times. If you smash the engage or the like button, there's the subscribe or the like button an even amount of times, it actually means you unlike or unsubscribe, and you don't want to do that. So smash it an odd number of times, and that helps. Also, if you're joining us, welcome. You're watching our live launch coverage here on the Launchpad. My name's Zach. I'm the host here at the Launchpad, and we're glad that you're here. You can subscribe to join our crew. We believe space is better together, and you can continue to join our Discord. The link in the chat for you guys. We cover everything space here on the Launchpad, and we're excited as we come down to T-minus 12 minutes until liftoff of tonight's mission to the International Space Station. It'll be a pretty quick launch. 8-9 minutes of coverage getting it up into orbit. We'll answer a few more questions, and then we'll wrap it up for the evening. So we're glad that you are here with us. Catching up on some of the chat. Timothy, I hope the Russian film made on the ISS is broadcast in English as well. I hope they dub it. Obviously, the movie will be in Russian, but I hope it gets a really good dubbing or at least subtitles. We're excited to see that hopefully come out maybe in the next year or so. Casual, I didn't realize the Russians were still resupplying the ISS. Nice to know we have a backup since we now rely on SpaceX and Boeing has screwed the pooch. Yeah, absolutely casual. So right now, Russia still supplies it as well as SpaceX. They kind of alternate. That's why we don't see it Cargo Dragon, kind of every couple months going up. There's not a lot of room on the ISS when you think about it to store the amount of cargo that they need to have up there, their water, their food, their hygiene supplies, absolutely everything they need. So we do see a Progress launch every few months as well. And then we do know that we also have the Sierra Space Dream Chaser, the mini space shuttle, as many are calling it, that'll be going into its test flight early next year, and it will be launching cargo crafts as well. So soon we will have 3 different cargo crafts going up to the International Space Station. We used to have the Cygnus as well, but I believe they have fully retired that now for it. So be nice to see Dream Chaser come alive, and the U.S. now have 2 options. Liberty, did I just say to unlike and subscribe? Reverse psychology. If I tell you to unlike it, you're going to like it. You guys are just joining us. Welcome. We're coming down T-minus 10 minutes until liftoff of tonight's Soyuz 2.1A rocket, carrying the Progress spacecraft in that fairing on very top there, carrying 2,550 kilograms up to the International Space Station. We're answering your guys' questions live, so send those in the chat. Tag us at the Launchpad. Take a moment, share out the broadcast as well. Let people know that we are just minutes away from launch. Golden, when is launch date for Dream Chaser? We don't have an exact date. It was supposed to launch already this year, kind of September, October. A year ago, they announced they wanted a slight delay, so they were pushing it into 2022. But we are hearing that it should be kind of the first half or so, is what they were originally targeting. So we're keeping an eye on that. It is an Atlas V launch. So we'll post more when we know more. But we should hear some details of that actually coming in the very near future. Timothy, China did well with their record 40th launch this year. Absolutely, we saw that last night. Michael, hello from Belgium. NASA is live? Is NASA covering this mission? That's kind of odd to see, but let's take a look. They are covering it. Are they covering it in English? That is the question. Let's find out. We're going to patch them in here.
Enable the third stage engine.
They are. So let's listen in.
And continue the rise to its preliminary orbit for the Progress 79. Third stage shutdown and orbital insertion comes at the 8-minute 45-second mark, followed just seconds later by third stage separation, and then the activation of the pre-programmed commands to deploy the solar arrays on the Progress 79, along with its rendezvous antennas and navigational antennas.
We're listening in to hear a status update on the rocket from NASA. Great to see that they went live for tonight's launch.
We're 7 minutes, 40 seconds now from launch. Everything continues to tick backwards in good fashion at the Baikonur Cosmodrome.
Coming down to T-minus 7.5 minutes until launch. Answering last couple questions here. Jumping back and forth between NASA and Roscosmos as they have a couple different feeds. Or the same feed as they switch to match it at the exact same time there. But coming down to T-minus 7 minutes. Neutral, what's your name? I'm Zach. Thanks for being here. Call us. Thanks for subscribing and following. Yeah, if you're new, take a moment, engage that like and subscribe button. Really helps us out. Let's see. Can we hit that 8.5K subscriber mark while we're live here today? I think we can. A lot of new people joining in. I'm glad to have you here with us. Kevin, first time hearing of Dream Chaser. That's awesome, Kevin. If you go to one of our space news updates from yesterday, or 2 days ago, actually. We have some really great animations and pictures of Dream Chaser in there talking about looking for a new spacecraft for NASA. If you guys hadn't heard yet, NASA has officially begun looking for a new crewed spacecraft for missions to the International Space Station. We are keeping a close eye on that as well, and Dream Chaser is, of course, expected to be one of those. Coming down to T-minus 6 minutes until liftoff here. Great to see you all in the chat. Thanks so much, Joel. I appreciate that. Shannon, thank you so much. Neutral Grade Cosmodrome. Yeah, it's a cool name. It's always fun, the Baikonur Cosmodrome. But we're glad to have you all here as we count down to T-minus 5 minutes, 50 seconds until liftoff. We're going to hold off on the questions at this point, and then we'll continue answering those after. So hold them off and then send them in once we see liftoff. But take a moment, like, subscribe, and share the video. It really does help us out. As we count down the last few minutes until launch here. Daniel on the road to 10K, that's the hope. Kevin, I must have missed that episode. Yeah, we got 3 space updates that we released 2 days ago. So keep an eye out for those. If you're subscribing, make sure to hover over the subscribe button and ring the bell. Make sure you get notified when we put posts out as well. Alicious, what does the Russian on the... Oh boy, I don't know where that's going. Amateur Radio Dude, first time here. I want to see the quality of this stream. Good job. Thanks so much, Amateur Random Dude. I appreciate that. Virginia, I hope this rocket does not push the ISS out of position again like the last 2 times. Yeah, we hope that too. Definitely something, they haven't had too much luck the last few missions, so we are keeping an eye on that here today. So they're purging the rocket, according to our Russian friend there. I should appreciate that. Explains the larger venting. They are clearing those lines in preparation for liftoff here tonight. Brian didn't know about this channel till just now. Got a new sub from me. I love people talking. Time to share their love for space. Thanks, Brian Dodd. I appreciate that. Thanks for checking us out and being here. No, lots of new people finding the channel, so we're glad to have you all here. Coming down to T-minus 4 minutes until liftoff of tonight's Soyuz Progress craft. If you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. My name's Zach. I'm the host here at TLP, and here at the Launchpad, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow. We believe explorers can be people both here on Earth looking up to the stars and people in space themselves. So we invite you to join our community by subscribing, engaging that like button, and just being part of this community. A couple ways you can do that. We'll drop it in the chat. There is a link to our Discord, totally free to join. And you can hang out with us as well as we count down to the Starship orbital flight test. Check out our Etsy shop. We're releasing a bunch of new stuff every couple weeks, so you can check it out there. Pick up a shirt. Tonight I'm wearing our Warning Raptors Loose No Trespassing shirt, which has a bunch of raptors down the back. So definitely take some time and check that out. But we're coming down to T-minus 3 minutes until liftoff. We will patch in the NASA feed here at the last minute. Hopefully hear some of those mics from the ground. But of course, last thing we do, always at that 2-minute mark. That makes more sense, Brian. That makes more sense. Appreciate it, everyone. I was there for Sputnik. That's awesome. That's really cool to see. Coming down T-minus 20 or 2 minutes, 20 seconds until launch. We do something here at every launch we do at the launch pad at that 2-minute mark. And if you're been with us before, you know what to do. But in the chat, let's see a go, no go in the chat as we have this final countdown towards tonight's launch here up to the International Space Station. A test launch as well. Going to test, seeing if they can get into an orbit where they could approach the ISS in only one orbit. They're not going to go for that rendezvous today, but they're going to do the first half of that test tonight. So great to have you all here. Wow, over 1,200 people watching as we come down to T minus 1 minute 40 seconds. Take a moment, smash the like button, you guys. You got to see that 500 like, or we're going to scrub the launch. But let's see goes in the chat as we count down. Let's patch in NASA here for the last 90 seconds, and let's enjoy this launch.
Progress now on internal power. And the Soyuz booster about to go on internal power as we hit the 1 minute mark until launch. T minus 45 seconds. And we have the separation of the first of the two umbilicals. T minus 20 seconds and counting. The auto sequence has been initiated. Second umbilical retracted. We have a command for engine sequence start. We have engine ignition. Turbo pumps building up to flight speed. And liftoff. Liftoff of Progress 79, the next vehicle in the supply chain to the International Space Station. Good roll, pitch, and yaw program reported from Baikonur. First stage performance reported to be nominal from the blockhouse in Baikonur. Good vehicle stabilization reported. Good chamber pressure reported on the first stage. 1 minute into the flight. Passing through maximum dynamic pressure on the vehicle. Flight is reported to be going by the book. One minute 40 seconds into the flight, everything continuing to go very well. The Soyuz booster arcing out to the northeast to an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator. Standing by for first stage separation. And first stage separation confirmed. The booster's falling away from the Soyuz. The vehicle is now flying on second stage engines. 2 minutes 25 seconds into the flight. The Soyuz booster traveling almost 5,000 miles an hour, 40 miles in altitude, 51 miles downrange from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. All parameters reported to be nominal from the blockhouse in Baikonur as we approach the 3-minute mark into the flight. 3 minutes, 15 seconds into the flight. 5.5 minutes of powered flight remaining. About 1 minute, 15 seconds remaining on second stage performance. All of the rocket systems reported to be in great shape from the launch controllers in Baikonur. The vehicle reported to be rock steady and stable at the 4-minute mark. Second stage engine performance continues to be right down the middle. The vehicle traveling almost 7,500 miles an hour. Standing by for second stage shutdown. Four minutes, 40 seconds in. 4 minutes of powered flight remaining. And we have second stage shutdown and separation. Five minutes, 15 seconds into the flight. The vehicle reported to be stable. Three minutes, 15 seconds of powered flight remaining. Everything is looking very good. Good third stage engine performance reported. Good control on the vehicle. Everything very, very good. Coming up on the 6-minute mark into the flight.
And if you're just joining us, welcome. You're watching the live launch of tonight's Soyuz 2.1A rocket. We've seen a successful first and second stage burn. The third stage now underway, pushing the Progress into an orbit. We're expecting in about 2 minutes from now, burnout of the third stage engine. But as we do this, if you're new, take a moment, hit the subscribe button. It really helps us out here. We cover every launch of Russia, US, and everyone in between. We're glad to have you here, but a nice nominal launch here tonight. Very smooth countdown. As usual for the Soyuz craft, taking this resupply mission up to the International Space Station. We are jumping between some live views from both NASA and Roscosmos. A live view into the Roscosmos mission control, where you can see that same live view that we had a moment ago as they count down. On the top left corner of their screen, you can see their trajectory and their main launch key moments and milestones. As they go into this orbit where they are testing to see if they could get to the International Space Station in just one orbit or less than 2 hours. Now, they're not going to actually do the full rendezvous, but they are going into a slightly different orbit tonight to get into an elliptical orbit to see if they do one more burn, could they get to the International Space Station. So a unique launch here tonight, a test launch in many ways for a very historic, proven Soyuz craft. We are keeping an eye out as we are expecting in about 60 seconds from now, burnout of that third stage engine. If you're new, though, you can continue sending in questions. We'll answer those for a few minutes before we wrap up, but we're going to keep an eye out for that full deployment as well as solar panel deployment as we head to the International Space Station. But if you're new, over 1,500 of you, click that like and subscribe button. It really does help us out. Let's see, can we get to that 8,500 subscriber mark here tonight? We're on the road to 10K for the end of the year, and we're glad to have you all here with us. And we're about 20 seconds away from expected burnout of the third stage here. Got some great different angle views from Roscosmos. A little different than we've seen in previous missions. A multi-screen view, which is nice to see. As you can see, traveling 192 kilometers in altitude, over 27,500 kilometers an hour. And there we have that burnout and stage separation. It looks like as well, it's a little... I'm going to jump to the NASA one. Oh, right when we do, they do it. There we go. Let's go back. There we go. There's that the switch. A slight delays as we see. Now we're going to keep an eye out for solar panel deployment as well. Another sign of a successful deployment of the Progress. And we'll see if Russia's going to show it or not here tonight. Liberty Dude, thank you so much for that super chat. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. There you can see a quick live view of the ground and then an animation solar panel deployment. Russia's cameras dropped out. NASA did have them on screen, so I'm going to jump back and pull that up so you can see the deployment and separation here. So this was just a few seconds ago, a very quick replay here of what just occurred of that separation, as well as solar panel deployment of tonight's Progress craft now making its way to the International Space Station. We will, of course, if they go live for the docking, bring that to you. We also have our live launch coverage of SpaceX Crew 3 launching October 31st in the early morning. That's already scheduled, so you can go set your reminder for that live launch. There you can see solar panel deployment. Live view of the pad there. As well as you can see, crew's already out on the pad, just safing it, checking, making sure everything has proceeded well. But with that pretty much wraps up another Soyuz launch. We don't normally see all that much. It looks like some of their cameras have cut out, so we'll hopefully hear an update from them about that. But we'll answer our last couple questions before we wrap up, and we'll go from there. Marcus in the chat, we went from maybe 10K in 2 to 3 years to maybe 10K by the end of the year, and it's only been 10 to 11 months. You're right, Marcus. Marcus, part of our team and our crew here, has been here since day 4, and yeah, we've definitely had some interesting, 3-5 years, 2 to 3 years, maybe 2 years, and now it's maybe less than a year. So you guys are amazing. Thanks for being here. We're glad that you're here. We'll answer a couple last questions. You can send those in the chat. Tag us at the launch pad, and we'll wrap up from there. But if you're new, take a moment, engage that subscribe button. We're so close to that 8,500 mark. I know lots of new people joining in, just discovering us tonight, and we're glad that you're here. We cover all launches: SpaceX, Roscosmos, Rocket Lab, Virgin Orbit, Virgin Galactic, New Shepard, with Blue Origin, and everyone in between. We're glad to have you here. We believe that it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow. We believe explorers can be both people here on Earth and those in space. We believe space is better together, so we're glad to have you here. Also, take a moment and consider joining our Discord. It is totally free to do so. Glad to see you in there. That's where you can keep up with some surprise live streams when they happen, and more from there. But with that was a successful launch of tonight's Soyuz rocket, and we're going to wrap it up from there. We'll be in the Discord a little later tonight to answer some more of your questions and play some Kerbal as well. But for now, this is Zach with the Launchpad signing off. We will see you in just 2 days for the launch of SpaceX Crew 3 to the International Space Station. But for now, this is Zach signing off. Have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.